I know this story's also been talked about, but the wave you got on your dad's board, was that, I mean, just a full circle moment?
Yeah, it was, yeah, I mean, that goes right up there with the best week of my life. That was probably the best day of my life. It was just like, yeah, it's very surreal, but I surfed the night before out at Pipe on like a 6'4". It was giant. And was just taking waves right on the head. And I actually watched Mark Healy get his wave of the winter that year. I don't think he won, but, you know, he was like real pretty. Rode like an 8.0 orange board, sunset. I'm like paddling for my life, trying to not get hit. And he's just cruising on this 8.0, just like about to just stand tall. I'm like, what am I doing on this thing?
Yeah.
Like, I'm like, that looks so fun. But then, anyway, so I get pounded and I go in. And that night, I think I'm leaving the next day to fly back home.
Yeah.
And my dad shaped me this board for my like 19th birthday, and it's been sitting in Hawaii for 3-4 years. And I'm like, you know what? You know, my dad, he would love to just see a photo of me on a wave at Pipe. It didn't matter. You know, it was just like, it'd be kind of funny, you know, whatever. So, you know, I waxed it up and I went down there. I didn't even check the waves. I was like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to go out there. I knew it wasn't like pumping. Like, I knew it was like a couple breaking far outs. I'm like, okay, that's all I need. Like, if I can just roll into one, like, and get a pocket ride, sweet. And then another thing that goes along with this story is like, I'm not sure how accurate it may be, but the whole ride a big board at Pipe thing, like, I find that's a thing that you work your way up to. That's a respect thing. That's that's like towing in at Chopu. You know, you want to go there and you want to paddle before. You want to show that you're willing to do it to get that, you know, the treatment.
Yeah.
Same with the big boards at Pipe. Like, my opinion, and I could be wrong and people could disagree, but I think, you know, you need to show your worth on the inside and, you know, get pounded. And like, you know, it's cool. Like the people that ride the big boards are like these gnarly local legends. Like, you know, Gavin Beshin's out there on his 7.6. You got Kalani Chapman on his 8.0. You got Mark Healy. You got all these
Glenn Novak.
You got all these people riding these big boards. Like, but they deserve it. I mean, those guys have gotten the best waves in the world. I'm not saying that it's easier, but it's pretty nice to be able to paddle. And so, but anyway, so I was like, you know what? Like, obviously I'll never take any waves from anybody, but I'd like to be out there. And if I luck into one, cool.
Yeah.
And so I was out there and I actually got one wave before that wave. And I got a little pocket ride and I got spit out. And I was like, perfect. Hopefully someone got it. I'm good. Whatever. But I ended up paddling back out. And I'm sitting out there and I'm with my buddy Eli Olson, who's a local. And we're like talking about the big board. He's like, yeah, man, if I was Goofy Foot, I would definitely ride a bigger board out here. There's no reason not to. It's just hard to like on a bigger board backside's a little bit different. But so I'm like, yeah, it seems pretty cool. I caught my last wave. Like it wasn't even breaking. Like, yeah. He's like, yeah, you could like catch waves that look like this, and this wave like kind of pops up. I'm like, yeah. And I kind of begin to paddle. He's like, dude, go. I'm like, okay. I'm like, yeah, sure. There's no one around me. I paddle, and sure enough, the wave doesn't even look like it's gonna break, but I just catch it. I'm like, oh my god, this is so nice. But then I stand up and I look down. I'm like, oh no, this is a closeout. This is not good. And so, but anyways, I'm like, well, I'm here now. I'm committed. I'm just gonna do it. And I just remember dropping into the first section, like pulling up, and like elevator drop. And I'm like, oh man, I do not know how good this board is. I don't know what's about to happen. So I like free fall, and then I come up next. My feet are like way up on the nose. I can just tell the board ain't maneuvering. And then like the next section comes in. I'm like, okay, wow, this is kind of nuts. Like I need to get out of here and doggy door it. I'm like, I can't doggy door this board. This board ain't gonna turn. Like, no offense, Dad, but like it wasn't made to turn. I don't even know what it was made for. It was a weird board. I asked them to make me a board for like, you know, Waimea or like an outer reef. They shaped me an 8.0, which is too small for that. But then it kind of is too big for Pipe, so I never knew when I was going to ride. But so here I am in this barrel. I'm like, okay. And I'm like, well, you know what? Might as well just pull into the closeout. Like, I can't doggy door it and make it even worse. Like, because time was just moving slow in there. It was wild. Like, just with the big boards, everything was so drawn out, like slow-mo. And then I remember the last part, like, went into the sandbar. And the water, it just got all crystal clear blue water. I'm like, no way. I remember my foot was all the way up. I could see the Perfection logo. I'm like, there's no way. This is. But also, surfing's a weird thing, especially barrel riding, because you get a barrel, you look at a clip, and you're like, that looked horrible. And you'll see another barrel. You're like, that was the same wave. You know, you never know what it looks like. Anyway, then I finally come out and I'm like, man, that was cool. But like, how cool was it? I hear everyone cheering. I'm like, man, someone must have got a good one behind me. I turn around, I'm like, there's no one behind me. And then like I jump off the board and I see people being like running to the water's edge. I'm like looking around. I go in and like this filmer comes up to me with the camera in my face. I'm like, was it good? He's like, it was insane. Wait, whatever. I'm like, no, like there's no way. Like this is not happening. And so he does like a little interview to try to get my true reaction. I still like wasn't even like clicked in because I didn't see it.
Yeah.
Had like Balaram come up to me and was like, bro, that was sick. I was like, oh man, this is wild. Like my dad is gonna freak out. And I'm still thinking like, oh, it was a fun one. Mm-hmm. And like another person came to me, this is crazy. And finally my buddy was shooting. He's like, come here. And we look at him like, oh wow. He goes, yeah. So I ended up calling my dad. I called my dad and I'm like, Dad, I just got the wave of my life on your board. He's like, that's cool, man. I've been looking at this house you were thinking about getting, and I'm like, well, no. Like, Dad, I'm like, I got the wave of my life. Well, I haven't seen anything. I'm like, you don't get it, dude. He's like, no, but anyways, Cam, this guy wants you to see the house. And I'm just like, I got mad. I like hung up the phone. I was like, I'll send you a video. And I sent him a video. And he called me back just bawling his eyes out, just crying. He's like, man, don't you dare ride that board again. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, that's my board. I'm like, it says happy birthday to Cam, Dad. But he's like, please don't break it. Please bring it home. I'm like, whatever. If that's what you want, that's what you get. But so yeah, the last wave ever ridden on that board was that board. Yeah. Now it's hanging up at the shop.
Sick.
But yeah, that was so surreal. And once again, it goes full circle. South Carolina just was backing me so hard. And it was just like so cool. Like, definitely another very big highlight of my career, but also I think it was more just the father-son bonding than anything. It was like, that was it. You know, that was all the hard work that he put in with me. I mean, that was the drives up and down the coast. That was the, you know, probably paying thousands of dollars to keep my dream alive and all that stuff. That all paid off for him right there. And like, that was just like, all right, cool. At least I got to, you know, do something for him.
Yeah.
But he also did a lot for me. So it was a win for everybody.
He can talk about it to everyone that comes in the shop.
Oh yeah, in there. My dad's funny when it comes to that type of stuff. He is very proud, and I'm very grateful for it. But I mean, poor kids will walk in there from Ohio that know nothing about surfing. Yeah. And I'll be in the surf shop. My dad's like, "You see Cam? You want a poster signed by Cam?" I'm like, "Dad, these kids don't know who I am." They're like, "Sure." Like, this is weird, but it's funny though.